Hi guys, and welcome to Eye on the Storm!
Woo!
You are the few, the blessed, the wonderful who are choosing to watch this over the NFL draft. So you know what is right and true and important, and we appreciate that about you. I am
guys, and welcome to
Anna
Eye on
Prosser
the
Robinson, who always
Storm.
forgets to mute the stream before I go live. And this is my co-host, Gillyweed.
I know that sound because it was the sound of it scaring you for a second.
It did. Why am I talking to myself?
Hey guys, I'm Gillyweed. This is Eye on the Storm. You guys probably know this, but if it's the first time that you're watching it, this is a show that Anna and I went ahead and developed after wanting to start a study session together to learn more about Heroes of the Storm in hopes that one day we could become casters for this awesome game that we really, really love so much. We thought we would share that journey of learning about the game with you, and it's morphed into a show where we bring on a guest and we talk about things happening in the community, in the meta. We have play sessions where we bring you builds so that you can learn about the characters that are in this game. And throughout the whole thing, we'll be having a Q&A for our guests too. So if you have any questions, be sure that you tweet us using the hashtag StormShow for us or our guests. But we are also on the Misscliks channel. Anna, what is Misscliks all about?
Misscliks is this awesome community that is about uplifting and providing support for female role models in geek and gaming culture. The idea being that we just really hope that the internet and geek and gaming culture will be a really safe place for everyone, regardless of gender or anything. So we're part of that, trying to bring some female visibility here, and we're really happy to be on Misscliks, and so thanks to them, and I hope you'll check them out as well. But the person that we really are spotlighting today and want to thank the most is our guest, PandaJigu!
Hi!
Yay! Panda,
Hey,
who are you? What do you do?
I'm the carry player for the UC Berkeley Heroes team, and I'm also the team captain. Yeah.
And, what have you done recently that might have been kind of cool?
We recently just won the Heroes of the Durham tournament and got college tuition for the rest of our careers. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So awesome.
It blows my mind. And we're going to spend most of this episode talking about Heroes of the Dorm. But putting that aside for just a second, what is your background, Panda? Where do you come from in terms of esports and competitive gaming? How did you get to where you are in terms of being somebody who does this competitively?
I guess I was just a big fan of esports since the start of high school. I think the first experience I had with esports was a match between Grubby and Moon in the
Cool.
Warcraft 3. Yeah, I was freaking out when I met Grubby over at this weekend. I was trying not to fanboy him too hard, but yeah, that's kind of basically where my interest in esports started. And then I started playing video games competitively. Warcraft 3, I switched over to StarCraft 2, and then I eventually ended up at Heroes, and here I am. Yeah.
And how did you get involved with the team and your teammates from Cal Berkeley?
So Conan and Fan and I, we knew each other from our StarCraft 2 team. And then when we heard about this announcement for Heroes of the Dorm, we basically just got together, the three of us, because we knew that the three of us had the competitive experience or a competitive background in other games, so that we could be really good in this new game too. And then we just made a post and then found the other three players on our team: Tite, Ultimated, Serendipity, and Zero. Yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Did you have, sorry Anna, did
No,
you
go
have
ahead.
access to the game before Heroes of the Dorm, or did you get it once you guys signed up?
I think three of us had access. Just me, Fan, and Zero. The three of us played during the alpha.
Okay.
And the other three that just started playing for this tournament had to basically start from scratch. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. But I know that there was quite a bit of competitive experience on your team in terms of people who had been in and around competitive sports, right?
Yeah.
Esports.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Suppy, who was a pro player on Evo Geniuses in StarCraft 2, and Fan's a pro player in this game on Cloud9.
Yeah.
And I was on a semi-pro team called Happy Fairy Dragons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, and I think Ultimated, Zach, they were both like pretty high ELO players in this game too, and they also played League at a pretty high level. Yeah.
Cool. So you guys kind of had a stacked team, and actually a lot of people had filled out their fantasy brackets to pick you guys as the winners. So, I mean, when I filled out my bracket, I didn't know who was on the teams, and I'm a huge fan of Suppy. I work for Evil Geniuses, and so I found out he was on Cal Berkeley, and I was like, oh no, I've picked the wrong teams. My bracket had a total of like,
no.
oh, my bracket was horrible. In fact, I'll show you. Where's my bracket?
Shame.
Here it is. There's my bracket. I picked Washington. I was so wrong. I only got 500 points. But, you know, that's okay. I didn't need $10,000 cash anyway, so that's fine. But, yeah. But what did you guys do to prep for this tournament? Because once you found each other, you guys knew that you have kind of this competitive edge. How often did you practice, and how did you go about preparing for this, knowing that so much was on the line?
I think we prepared maybe 3 to 4 hours of practice every day, or we try to get 3 or 4 practice hours in every day. But that ended up only being maybe 1 or 2 towards the last 2 or 3 weeks. So we were actually really worried going into this event because we were kind of really didn't have as much practice as we wanted. We had a coach who helped us with picks and bans. Like, he scouted all the other teams.
Whoa, cool.
He used to be the support player for my old team, and then we both dropped their team so that we could, do this thing full time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
oh, so he was on the Happy Fairy Dragons with you?
Oh, no. He was on the team after that, Packet Loss. Yeah. He was the support player. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's really cool. Can you tell us who your coach was, or is that a secret?
Rami. So I think his in-game ID is Tsukima.
Cool.
And, yeah.
Do you think that that's something, because I know a lot of teams don't have a main, like a leader, manager, or a coach or anything like that. Do you feel like that was a big help to you guys that sometimes people overlook?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, he predicted the draft for the finals basically perfectly. Like, we knew exactly what heroes ASU wanted to pick. Like, we knew exactly what combo they had to deal with the Illidan that we were most likely going to pick, because we just assumed that they knew that we were going to pick what we picked. Yeah, so he was definitely a really huge part of our success.
Cool.
Speaking of the Illidan, you guys, it was like whoever had the Illidan was winning. Had you guys prepped for that? Like, the idea that they would be trying to first pick Illidan whenever they could? Because we noticed that you guys were, running the Muradin to try to deal with that. So, like, how much of that was forethought?
We had an anti-Illidan comp prepared because we knew there was a definite possibility they would take Illidan away from us. So, like, in the second game on Curse Hollow, we ran an anti-Illidan comp, and we were really far ahead in that game with our comp. Like, our comp was working pretty well, except we threw the game a couple times and then lost the game. Yeah, it was, but we had the comp prepared for Illidan.
Do you feel like that was nerves in that game, or
definitely nerves? Yeah, like someone, I don't know what happened, but someone in one of the fights missed their stun on Illidan when he was flipping, and then someone jumped into the middle of the team and died, and then at the very end, like, 2 people got caught, including me, and then we just lost the game. So I think that was definitely nerves. If it was like maybe we were playing at home or somewhere that wasn't just on stage, I think we should have had that game won.
Yeah. Well, it did make for more epic finals, but I'm sure it was much more stressful.
It was really stressful for us. Yeah.
Well, I really want to talk about those final games eventually, but just thinking kind of chronologically, you guys met, you started prepping for this tournament, you were worried and did everything you could to scout the other teams. Did you guys spend much time together before that? And if not, did you become really close friends? Like, tell me a little bit about, I was watching Suppy's vlog and saw you guys kind of traveling together and going to this big event. So what was it like to spend so much time with this group of guys and kind of get to know them? Did you become really close?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely became pretty close. I'd never met 3 of the people on our team before. So I was already really close with Fan and Suppy, but I'd never met anyone else on the team. And then I remember the first dinner we had together, maybe a week or 2 into the start of the tournament. It was a little bit awkward at first, but we started getting along pretty well because, I mean, we all played video games. I mean, it was really easy for us to get along.
That's awesome. Did you meet any of the other teams and get to know them as well? Like, were there any special people that you kind of met and made friends with, other players?
knew a couple players that were kind of in the pro scene. So someone like Misscliks, who plays for UC Irvine, he came to the event finals to like to cheer us on.
Hmm.
And I think, yeah, just scattered individual players from the other teams that we kind of knew before we met in person, and that was really cool.
Cool.
How was the community once you got to the event? Did you have a lot of people coming up to you and talking to you, or like recognizing you as well?
We didn't really get to talk to fans too much, or we didn't
Mhm.
really see anyone besides the Blizzard production staff and the casters. But for the most part, everyone we met was super nice. Like our player manager was really really cool. Yeah, but for the most part, everyone was really really nice.
You guys kind of got a little bit of the star treatment. I was doing recap and highlight videos, so I kind of got to see you guys behind the scenes on the first day, getting your
Okay.
photos taken, and I did some interviews with you guys and that kind of stuff. So, had you guys ever been through that kind of thing before? What was it like, kind of getting that press treatment?
Definitely not. This was my first event that something like that happened. I was actually really really surprised by how well Blizzard treated our players. Like whenever there was something that was even a little bit off, they would just try to push to get it changed immediately. I was actually really surprised with how well they treated their players.
What kind of things would they fix for you?
Oh, so I think the second to last day they changed the lighting for the practice
Mm.
area, the player area. It was really really dark for an hour or two, and my eyes were kind of drying out from uh, just playing in the dark, I guess. And
Mm.
I just texted our player manager asking if there's any way we could make it brighter in the room, and like a few hours later, everything was completely changed. So I was really surprised by that.
That's really cool. It's good to hear that
Yeah.
they were so responsive for you guys.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, being on ESPN, Blizzard, there's so much on the line for them. They have to make this broadcast perfect. So I would kind of wonder if sometimes the player needs might be lower on the list. So it's really cool to hear that you guys got so taken care of. And
Hmm.
speaking of that, what was it like to know that you were being on ESPN? Like, what's going through your
Yeah.
mind then?
I just tried not to think about it because I felt like I would get really nervous and play really badly. So it didn't really um, process, I guess, like as we were playing or right before we were playing. But afterwards, I was just super super excited, and I guess it brought a lot of my friends who didn't watch esports into the scene, and they were really interested.
Yeah, I had never been to an esports event that was broadcast on that level on television. So
Hmm.
to give people who weren't there at the event like a little kind of feeling of what it was like, if you've gone to normal esports events before, you probably know what the crowd felt like and you saw, the dongers and everything. It was amazing and the energy was still there, but there was this kind of sense of like very fast movement and kind of like you said, Panda, you felt like you didn't really have time to interact with the community very much because everything was moving so fast and you had this guy over the PA being like, okay, we're coming back in 3, let's hear applause, three,
Hmm.
two, one, and everyone's like, ah, because
That's
that's how a TV
crazy.
broadcast works, and there's a teleprompter that's telling
Yeah, the
people what to
teleprompters.
say. So, I had not seen an esports event be on television before, and it was kind of cool. It felt kind of grown up, like the last time I saw that kind of production was, I mean, for me, it was Miss USA. So it
It
was
was
a
so
meeting of
smooth.
worlds.
Yeah, and it was so smooth. Like I was telling some Blizzard people, like I met one of the technical people, the people in charge of the tech at Blizz or at Here's the Dorm at our meetup afterwards, and I was like, yeah, everything ran so smoothly. It was amazing, and they were like, yeah, behind the scenes, it was pretty scary. Like they would have a couple of tech things mess up. Like one time they had a monitor go down, one of the observer ones, but apparently like they were really on it, like, okay, this is indicative of overheating, we need to get fans right now, and within 4 minutes they had it right back up and everything was fine, and we didn't even see anything like that, and I was
Right.
just like, oh, I'm so proud of you guys, like
Yeah.
you really pulled this off and it made such an amazing event. It was such a huge accomplishment.
Well, yeah, and it's a huge risk, right? Like if this broadcast was bad, that's a
That's
big
it.
problem. Yeah, like this is the first time that ESPN has done a tournament like this. And so if it sucks, then this is probably not going to happen again.
Esports on ESPN.
And plus, I mean, yeah, this wasn't one of the most highly viewed things on ESPN, but anything even remotely viewed, I think I saw numbers that were like about 100,000 viewers on ESPN, which is not huge by TV standards, but it's certainly a large amount of people. So those 100,000 people who are watching, if this broadcast sucks, they're probably not returning to esports either, if they're people who don't already love the community and know what they're watching. So there was a ton writing. Like, we were talking to Sir Scoots, so I want to give him big ups because he's somebody that I've seen, you know, making esports happen for so long. He was back there in the truck, and they, like you said, Gilly, they did such a good job that I was looking for those fumbles, because there's always a fumble during a broadcast somewhere, but you couldn't see them. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think the worst I ever saw was that a video paused and they replayed it, but it was so seamless, and like the casters didn't even recognize it really. That it was like, okay, well, if that's your biggest tech issue, I think you're doing it right.
Yeah, and
there's like a map intro video.
And they took such good care of everyone. Like, nobody there felt unimportant. You know what I mean? Some of these live events, it's like you can feel segmented, or like somebody, you're not allowed to be here or there, but it felt very inclusive, and like everyone was having a great time, and Gilly and I were sitting on the floor in a pile of confetti.
Eating cake.
It was amazing. But anyway, back to you, Panda. You were not spectating, you were competing. So you said that you had to not think about being on ESPN, but what was going through your mind? What did it feel like to be competing on that stage in front of those people?
Oh, I was definitely really excited. I'd never been on a stage in front of that big of an audience before in my esports career, and I guess it was definitely a dream come true. It was definitely one of the main reasons that I wanted to get into esports in the first place. To be able to play in front of a crowd that big was really just a dream come true. I can't say enough about that. I was so happy.
Did it make you more nervous, or did it give you more focus? Because I know we were talking to Suppy last week, and we lovingly refer to him as Dr. Suppy now, because he was teaching us about chronic stress versus acute stress.
Yeah. He actually had the exact same talk with me. I was telling him how nervous I was, like the day before the finals. I told him, I said, hey Suppy, do you have any advice for playing on stage? I've never actually played this big of a crowd before, and I don't want to choke and then get nervous and throw a game in front of the crowd. And he gave me like advice about how that nervous feeling you get whenever something happens, or whenever you're in front of a crowd that big. It's just the natural fight or flight response. And I guess that thought just really resonated with me, where I just told myself that I'm not gonna be scared and run away from the situation. I should just stand there and fight, basically. And if you recognize that, it really helps. And yeah, I think that advice was really good for me.
So you just sat down and decided you were going to fight instead of flight?
Yeah. I was still nervous the first two games against Illinois. I was playing super scared, but after that I just calmed down, and the whole series against ASU, I didn't even notice there was a crowd in front of us until we won.
No. I was wondering who you think was maybe the most nervous on your team, and I wondered if maybe it would be you because you're the captain, or Fan because it's a shot caller, or who you thought it would be.
I think it was me again the series against Illinois, but afterwards for the finals, I think we were all really calm, and we were just thinking about nothing but just how to win the game, basically.
That's awesome. It's good that you had the semis to be able to like work that out, and it wasn't just the finals. I am glad that they did it that way, because I think it really let everyone kind of get their nerves out and really provided just an amazing finals for all of us to get to see.
Were there any cool stories behind the scenes, or like backstage?
Oh gosh, I have this really embarrassing story.
Yes, tell.
Well, maybe it's not that bad. I told my team and they didn't think it was that bad. But I was a really big fan of Grubby since like high school. He's been like my childhood hero. And oh gosh. So after the third game against ASU in the finals, we were given like a 3-minute break, just 3 minutes to go backstage, use the restroom, wait for all the people that were in the restroom, because there's just like both teams went in, avoid talking to the other team. And then I finished using the restroom, and then like I came back and there was like 30 seconds left, and then I realized I didn't have enough water on stage, so I went into the break room, but apparently they just cleaned up all the water bottles. There was no water left. There was no food. There was nothing except for this like half, you know, this water bottle that was half full. Like someone drank half of the water in this bottle, and then I didn't even notice who was in the room. Like there was like someone taking like a picture or something. Like I wasn't thinking about that at all. I just wanted to get water so I could play well on stage, and I just like ran over and then grabbed the water bottle and then started and just shouted something like, "Oh, sorry, I need this."
I'm coming.
And then I turned around and ran away. And then our sub player UA Serendipity just was like shouting for me to come back. And then I was like, "What? You know, I need to go back on stage. I'm really sorry." And he said, "You know, Richard, you just ran into Grubby's photo with one of the fans, and you're drinking his water right now." And I was like, "Oh my god."
That's so good.
Yeah. But he was really nice about it. And I turned around, I was gonna give him back his water, but he just said, "You know, please just take it. It's for you." Yeah, so I was
he
really
understands.
touched at that moment. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
Well,
you
he
got
knows.
to drink Grubby's water. You're
Yeah.
basically brothers, best friends now.
You shared saliva with Grubby.
Oh gosh. But
Dude.
it was definitely a really embarrassing moment at the time. I didn't know what to do.
Well, he knows that feeling, right? Like he's had to run on
Yeah.
stage like that, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he was fine with it. But I can only imagine the mortification. Like, "Oh, hello,
Oh,
childhood hero! I have just stolen your water."
I need this water. Bye.
Oh my gosh! I hope that photo exists. Like you said, you ran into a photo.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I
It's
think he
just
was
you,
taking
like-
a photo with one of the Illinois players. I don't know if he still has it, but
If anyone watching has access to Grubby or that player who took that picture, please ask them if that
Please.
picture
God.
exists and send it to us with the hashtag Storm Show so
We
that we
need it.
can show it on the stream.
We need it.
Oh, that's so good. I'm so glad. Are there any other stories we should know about? Because that one was
I-
amazing.
I nothing that comes to mind. That was definitely the highlight of my weekend, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we mentioned that we want to talk about the matches, so I certainly don't want to neglect that. And guys, if you did miss any of the matches, you should know that on the Heroes of the Storm YouTube right here, there's a playlist of all the Heroes of the Storm matches with the casting from the broadcast, so you can watch them on demand. There was a rebroadcast on Twitch, so Blizzard is certainly wanting to get this content out to you. Also, as a side note, if you want to skip through some of the matches and you just want backstory, there's actually a list of videos that I worked on with Future for Blizzard that are like the recap. Here's the really quick version of what happened in the round of 16 and the round of 32, that kind of stuff. So if you want the story, go ahead and check those out. But as for you, PandaJigu, in the semis, is there anything particularly that you remembered in terms of top plays or really cool moments or places that you were scared or places you felt really confident that you would call out for people to maybe go look for?
I don't think there's one specific moment, except maybe. No, actually, I don't know if there's any specific moment during those games. I guess if there is something that someone wants to watch and learn from, I guess would just be the entire early game of the first game, where they just ran a pick comp with Kerrigan, Anubarak, Thrall, and they were just rotating around the whole map for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then they couldn't catch any of us because my team was playing really safe. But other than that, I think I don't remember anything specific from those games.
Yeah, they were some pretty, I mean, really, I think in those games, Illinois put up a great fight, but you guys really kind of showed your dominance there. Did that make you feel like did it give you any kind of confidence?
Yeah, definitely. Especially since I was really nervous in the series against Illinois. I played really safe, like way too safe actually, the first two games, and then it was kind of a good wake-up call for me that I have to play at my normal level, just not play scared, and that it definitely really helped for the final series.
Cool. Well, we certainly want to spend a lot of time talking about the finals, because Gilly and I were mentioning that we thought it was one of the best series that we remember watching live. And I don't know, Gilly, do you want to go game by game? Because I would kind of like to do a summary of each, but I don't know if we have time.
I don't know if we have time, but We can try it. That's fine.
Maybe just a quick summary of each game. If you remember, I mean, I feel like if I were in those games, I wouldn't remember them very clearly. But in game one, do you have a quick summary of, like, if someone's going to go watch that, what do they have to expect from game one of the finals with Cal Berkeley versus Arizona State?
What was that, Dragonshire?
It was...
No, wait, Dragonshire was the last one.
It was Blackhearts.
Blackhearts.
Oh, yeah, I was so excited because that's my favorite map. And I don't usually see it in competition. You know, people kind of stay away from it. So, yeah.
Do you have, like, any specific memory, like any scared point, anything like that from the match one, or were you guys just feeling comfortable throughout that game?
We were actually really surprised by their draft. Like, if you see their draft order, I think their first pick was Brightwing, I think.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Cassidy really early. That's really, really uncommon for drafting in the competitive scene. Definitely expected them to play something like Sylvanas or, you know, like even Jaina as one of their earlier picks. I don't really remember how the draft happened, but we were definitely surprised about the draft. But we knew that they were going to try to run a Wombo the second we saw Falstad, I think. For Zero Tool. And then we just knew that if we spread out during all the fights and not let them get really good Wombo combos off, we'd be able to win pretty easily.
Yeah. They actually missed, I believe that was the Zeratul Tyrael Falstad one. And they missed a couple of their Void Prisons into the Hinterland Blast. So I think that you could definitely see nerves showing there as well. But you guys were still feeling completely calm as well.
Yeah, we just knew that if their Wombos didn't work, they'd be screwed basically, and that's what happened.
Yeah, it did seem like really strange to see. I remember seeing the Brightwing Tassadar early on, and I didn't know if maybe they were like trying to hide that Wombo until later or what they were trying to do, but it did seem like Akaface really wanted to make sure that he was always getting that Brightwing to deal with your Illidan, you guys' Illidan.
Yeah. Brightwing is definitely one of the strongest picks for countering Illidan because of the polymorph and rewind double polymorph at level 20. So I guess that's the reason why they prioritize it so highly in the series.
So you guys won game one, and then game two was the one on Cursed Hollow, and I think that was when we were live. You were mentioning that you guys just were overcommitting a little bit in fights. Yeah,
we practiced that comp a lot against some of the best Illidan players in not just in the college scene, but also in the competitive scene. So we ran that exact same composition for dealing with Illidan against Tempo Storm, and Glorong was playing Illidan, and we did really well against him. But I think we just messed up our coordination in two of the fights. Like, I think we missed a stun or two stuns on Illidan right before he used Metamorphosis in the first fight we lost. And then I think our Murden jumped into their enemy team by, I don't know, out of nerves or something, and then we got caught at the end. Murden and I got caught at the end and we lost, basically. Yeah.
I remember being really enthralled by game 2 and 3, if I'm remembering which game was which. But I feel like I remember in game 2, ASU hit 20 and just took advantage of that tiny window where you guys weren't at level 20 and pushed to win. And then in the next game, the exact same thing happened in reverse. You guys did the same thing. You hit level 20 and pushed their core to win. So is that indicative of kind of, I felt like those games were so good and there was a lot of back and forth and trading, and it was just those few seconds that kind of were the deciding factor. Do you feel that same way about those games, or do you feel like there was more going on?
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty common strategy in the competitive scene to take advantage of the enemy team when they haven't reached the same talent level as you are. So, as you kind of mentioned already, the level 19 versus level 20 disparity is really big because you get a huge power spike at level 20 with the storm tier talents, and those give your team a really strong, a really big advantage. And at the end of the Chris Hollow game, that's why we tried really hard to avoid fighting them before we hit level 20. We had Suppy soaking top lane, someone else soaking bottom lane, so when we got caught in the middle lane, it was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Can I ask my question about game 3?
Yes.
Oh, what were you guys thinking when Tassadar got caught out?
Oh, that was one of the worst moments of the finals, I guess. Like, I don't know what happened, but we all went enter the mines through top,
Yeah.
and we just assumed that Tassadar was coming with us, and then because I remember fans saying, like, come go to mines top, go in the mines top, like he repeated it twice, and then randomly I see our Tassadar in the middle of the map trying to get the watchtower, so I was just shouting at him to, like get in the mines, and then he instead of going through the bottom to enter the mines from the safe way, he went top, and then he got caught by the enemy team, and we just knew that we'd have to just try to get the skulls and defend the 4v5. Yeah, we also messed up a little bit there too. We should have left the skull up, but I mean,
Oh, right.
yeah,
That actually happened to me on stream today. We were like, leave a skull up, and then it got taken. We were like, never mind. But all right, so Tassler went down. Were you guys like, we've lost this game, or were you guys like, we can still do this? What was the mindset there?
I guess we were still positive. I was actually, I think our team was a little bit frustrated that happened, because that's just, potentially two game losing mistakes in a row. Like someone getting caught before their goal and pushes their core, and then like not leaving one skull up so that we'd be able to, delay their push by a little bit. Yeah, so we were definitely a little bit frustrated, and we just kind of, knew we just had to fight 4v5, like go full YOLO and like try to win the fight, I guess.
How did you guys, that fight happened so fast for us, and we actually we were watching the water elemental chase the Rhaegar. So
Yeah.
how were you guys able to, did they like get out of position? How were you guys able to hold that? Because that was a crazy hold.
I think, are you talking about the 4v5 defense at the core at the end of that game? Because I think I've actually got the YouTube video queued up here, and I'm excited to watch it again.
Well, it will probably, I think it follows the Rhaegar away, and like in that time there's 2 kills, and so yeah, I just wanted to know like what happened.
I think my coordination with Fan is really, really on point. Like we used to play on like the first team I made when I switched over was with Fan, so we definitely played a lot, and we know exactly how each other play. So he got a really nice, I think, a 4-man or 3-man metamorphosis on their team, and Suppy got a really nice heal off on him, and I was able to, you know, use my full combo as Sylvanas on, I think, Vala and Tyrande, and then Fan recognized that immediately, that I got Vala to a certain percentage of health where she would be killed easily if he went on her, and he just went on her immediately, and we got a kill there, and it just kind of slowly snowballed in our favor. Yeah.
Man, I'm watching this
Such a
game
good
again. I know you guys can't see it, but the Tassadar getting caught out is happening right now, and it was just such a cool series of games. Like Gilly and I were just all a tingle for the whole thing.
I like lost my voice is still coming back. That's how hard I was yelling and screaming from the floor, because we didn't have seats and we did not want to sit, like we're short, so we did not want to sit, well, I'm short. Did not want to sit behind anybody, so we just made our own row on the floor. But that was my favorite game, like game 3, because of that insane amazing hold, and like the water elemental versus Suppy on Rhaegar moment where we're like, just survive it, leave him alone. It was so good.
Yeah, that 4v5 defense is happening right now, and Suppy Rhaegar is running away from the water elemental. It's awesome that you were saying that right now, because it's actually happening on
I'm
screen.
basically casting it. I can't even see it.
And I don't want to like sit here and have you guys watch the YouTube video, because I certainly don't want to steal views from this YouTube video, so I'm turning it off, but you guys should go watch it on Heroes of the Storm. I think it's youtube.com/BlizzHeroes. So I certainly don't want to take views away from them. But that game is a great one, especially if you're a fan of Cal Berkeley. To watch the end, specifically, is super cool. But let's move on to Game 4. Game 4 was on Sky Temple, if I recall correctly. And it felt very different from Game 3.
Yeah.
How was that?
That game was a disaster. So we had another anti-Illidan comp prepared for us. So one of the best ways to deal with Illidan is to take advantage of his early game weakness, kind of like what ASU did early game in the 5th game with Sylvanas Vikings. But we were doing that with Jaina's Sylvanas, where you just basically push and kill all their towers and then keep rotating and then just take all their forts. You can't do that. You can't do anything about that if you're playing Illidan. It's just really hard to deal with. You just got to try to survive. But I remember the early game, we couldn't keep pushing as hard as we wanted top lane, because like our mid laner was kind of playing a little bit too scared, and then their Illidan kept trying to roam up to top lane so that it was a 4v3 situation, and we kept having to back off top lane instead of pushing, and then if he came up, then we'd have a 4v4 and then we'd win. So yeah, our early game was really off, and then we ended up going into mid game even. And I don't remember what happened, but I think Fan had like a shot calling mistake where he didn't see how quickly the enemy team was pushing our top, and they got like a top keep for free while we rotated mid to get their fort or something like that. It was just a really just kind of a bit of train wreck. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Love you, ESPN. Yes. Based ESPN,
I
yes.
was muted, so you guys heard me, but the chat did not. So to recap, the energy, it was 2v2 or 2-2,
Yes.
and ESPN had every right to cut us off because we had gone late, but they didn't. Probably because the broadcast was so awesome and the games were so great. But now we're at game 5. What's going through your head, Panda?
Um, I, I just really wanted to win the series. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about the crowd at all. I was still a little bit nervous during the first 3 or 4 games, but for the
Mhm.
5th game, I didn't feel any nervousness at all, and I just was completely 100% absorbed by the game and just wanted to do nothing but win.
So they came out with that Sylvanas Vikings comp.
Hmm.
And you see this in the picks, and are you guys instantly like, okay, early game, like are you instantly like forming a strategy? Are you worried about the comp that you have to go against it?
We knew they were trying to pick that comp since the very beginning of the series. We kept trying to deny Sylvanas from them whenever we could, so
Okay.
they wouldn't get that specific combination. But the
Mhm.
last game, we were just like, they're probably gonna run this. Like before the draft even happened, we were just like, they're probably gonna run this. We're gonna pick Illidan anyway, and then we're just gonna try to, defend early game, try to slow down their push, and then, just claw our way back from there. That was basically the game plan, and
And you were okay with this. Like last
yeah,
game, you're okay with saying like we're gonna get
yeah.
behind them, we're gonna claw our way back. You guys stayed calm and everything.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of people talk about how we were really far behind the last fifth game, and we were just letting them get whatever they want. But it's just really hard to deal with that composition, even in the competitive scene, especially
Mhm.
with an alien on your team. It's really hard to defend that push. The only real thing you can do is to make sure they don't get as big of it as a level lead as they can. So if you're just down by a level, which we were, I think, going into the mid game, it should be fine. So we were completely comfortable playing that way, and we knew that was going to happen, and we just had to trust that we'd be able to win the fights later on in the game.
I thought it just showed such it really made me feel like you guys were professionals. And I know that a lot of you have competed before, but like you said, you had some people who had never really competed before, and on this like big huge stage with college tuition on the line, like that's a huge
Yeah.
huge prize. It's the ace match. You guys have been playing all day, and I just thought it was so amazing that you guys were able to stay calm through that and still turn it around, like knowing that you were getting behind from that early game. I was just like talking about that for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
Like, how did they do this? Because I would not have been able to do that.
I guess it just helped knowing exactly what they would do. Like we had a game plan, we're gonna be down 1 or 2 levels early game. Like that's totally fine. Just don't get caught and let them snowball the game. And then we'll just try to win the level 10 fight, the level 13 fight, the level 16 fight, and just win every fight onwards from that point. So definitely having a strategy going into this last game before it even happened was really helpful for keeping us calm. And I also guess that everyone really wanted to win.
Mhm.
Everyone thought about how hard we practiced for the last 2 months or so before this tournament, and we didn't want it all to go to waste. So we all really wanted to win.
Well, like you were saying, Gilly, and I think maybe it's not quite as wow to you, Panda, but the idea of like of because certainly cost benefit analysis is what this game is about, right? Knowing like, okay, we'll let them take that fort, but we're going to take this objective, or whatever it is that we're doing. But the breadth of the cost benefit analysis of an entire game, saying like, okay,
Yeah.
we know we're going to be behind this whole time, and that's okay because we're paying the cost. We're going to invest in this game, and as long as we can hold off until until the time when our team is going to be stronger, then we know we will win the game, and we have certainty that this one rope that is holding our team above the abyss will hold until we get there. And so that for me was really, it was just so cool to show that on ESPN and to have that analysis be said, where it's like, that's why esports is so cool, because it's such a huge mind game that has so many intricate pieces to it. So thank you for showing that to the world, Panda. Because Gilly and I were freaking out about it.
Yeah, that's what I ended up talking about. I was like, you guys, I mean, both teams played amazingly, but you guys deserved to win by not freaking out there. I kept looking at you guys' faces too, and never was it like sad or like worried. Like it was just like intense on the game, and I was like, man, I would be like the whole time.
Well, I know we're coming up against our play session, and we have lots of fun people joining us for our play session. So do stick around for that, guys, if you're watching. Including one of those people is the one and only Cattle Prod, who is the WoW GIF guy, the WoW Vine guy. He's going to be here. So stay tuned. I have a few more questions that I think are really important. So you guys won that game 5. You took the whole series. We watched you jump up and hug each other. Tell us what that feeling was like.
Oh, I really doubt there have been moments that I've been happier in my life. That was definitely one of the highlights of my life. I don't know. It was just such an overwhelming emotion. Like, I think I was the one who was jumping up and down like crazy when we won the finals. I think there's a video of that on Twitter somewhere. But I just didn't want to do anything but just like scream my head off and cheer and just hug my teammates. And I remember I told my teammates that they were like, I was so glad to meet them, that with any other team I don't think we would have won that last game. And I was just really, really grateful that I was with that team. Yeah.
That's so cool. It was so fun watching and watching you guys win college tuition. Like, I remember being in college and how much every dollar of my tuition counted, and seeing you guys suddenly not have to worry about that blew my mind. How did that feel, knowing that was on the line, that your college tuition was just won?
Yeah, I don't know. I just really, really wanted to win that prize, especially for my family, because my I guess my background, our family isn't like really too well off, and they struggled really, really hard to put me through college. So I was really glad that I'd be able to at least pay them back some way, before I went off and got a job and started my own life. So I was really, really happy that I got that opportunity.
That's so awesome.
Was that, speaking of family, was that your grandma?
Yes, that was my grandma who came on stage.
That was the best.
God.
I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not going to cry, but it was pretty tough not to. So grandma ran on stage to give you a hug.
Yeah, she actually wasn't supposed to be on stage, so I was really surprised to see her. But I mean, I didn't really care, and I just wanted to share the moment with her, so I just gave her a hug. Yeah.
I was talking to Kim Fan, who's the esports director. I don't know. She runs esports for Blizzard, and she was like, nobody knows how that grandma got on stage. Nobody knows how she got up there. She just appeared. And Kim was saying how she thought it was wonderful, because I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see those really authentic moments. So
I don't think anybody was like, oh, why is grandma on stage? I think everyone was like,
yeah. Well, and I have your tweet pulled up, Panda.
Oh God.
TFW, your grandma is more popular in the esports community than you are. RIP. Has the esports community been really into your grandma?
Yeah, like her photo on Twitter has just like been blowing up. I told her, and she was just like really surprised too, and kind of embarrassed actually.
Aww.
Oh, she shouldn't be embarrassed.
Grandma.
We were excited that Grandma ran on stage. I was super happy. I thought that just made it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, like I said, let's we have lots of questions too about kind of your impressions of Heroes of the Dorm overall, but we can kind of ask those during the play session. But just to sum up, in case people can't stick around for the play session, what are your overall thoughts on Heroes of the Dorm in terms of the larger impact, be it for esports, be it for bringing esports to the mainstream, or just for the Heroes community as we look forward to release in general? What do you think that Heroes of the Dorm has done in all of those stories?
It's definitely a groundbreaking tournament, especially the fact that there's now an opportunity for college students, if Blizzard decides to continue, keeping this tournament up every year. There's definitely an opportunity for college students to continue their career in esports and be able to pay off their tuition. Playing a video game is a really cool concept. And the fact that it was broadcast on ESPN, that's amazing. Like, it just made the whole experience even better. I really hope that Blizzard decides to keep this as a yearly thing.
Me too.
Me too. We had a viewer question, and I don't know if this is true or not. This could be crazy, but the Ursidon from chat says that maybe you know how to do some magic tricks.
Oh yeah, I've been actually learning card magic the last few months. That's kind of been my new hobby. Yeah.
Are you gonna show us one?
Like on the side of Heroes of the Dorm or whatever?
I could. I don't know how well it would show up on stream, but I can show you guys one right now.
All right.
Yes, bonus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then play session.
Okay, then we promise everyone who's waiting for the play session.
All right. So, okay, let me see. I'm gonna do this. You get to see my table here.
All right.
Okay. Is this? Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna, just fan out the cards, and since you guys can't really pick one, I'll just tell me when to stop in this deck, and then I'll just take that card for you.
Okay.
So anywhere in the deck, just
You
tell
do
me
it,
when to
Gilly.
stop.
Stop.
Stop? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be your card, okay?
Okay.
I'm not gonna look at it. I'm gonna look away from the camera, and I'm gonna show you. Make sure you see what the card is.
Raise it up a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Okay, we see.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna place this somewhere in the middle of the deck. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut the deck into a couple piles. I'm gonna shuffle the deck around, and just basically mix up all the cards. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this deck, mix up the cards. Yeah. Okay, so I'm also gonna do what's called a sloppy shuffle, where I take some of the cards and I put them back to back like this. So the cards are gonna be completely mixed up. Some of them will be facing one way, some will be facing another way, and I'm gonna go through and do this for the entire deck. So the entire deck is gonna be completely mixed up. Okay, so getting to the bottom of the deck here. All right, so do you still remember where your card is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keep that in mind, okay? So what happened now is we mixed up the entire deck. It's completely shuffled. Some of the cards are face to back. Some of the cards are facing back to face. And some of the cards are back to back, right? But what happens now is if I snap my fingers and I spread out the cards, all the cards are face down except for one card, which is
Whoa!
the Joker. Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
That's amazing.
I'm impressed that it was still cool on webcam.
Yeah.
This is really neat. I think that you should stream magic tricks alongside your Heroes of the Storm games.
The chat's amazing.
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
So
That was
good.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Wow, we actually put you on the spot, and you certainly delivered.
Yeah. I need a better webcam for that though if I wanted to keep doing that.
That was amazing. Well,
the chat got kind of scared that it was a Joker. Like, oh no, it's gonna be wrong because it was the Joker, but you totally didn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
this has been a killer episode, and we really do have to go to our play session now, but what a way to end this part of our show. Guys, we're going to go to a break screen really quick. We're going to bring in lots of people for our play session, a lot of names that you know, so look forward to that. Please stay tuned. We will be back in just a few minutes. Bye.